Hello and welcome to the Premier Football Podcast. I'm Rafe Garland. I'm joined here at home by the fantastic, wonderful, brilliant Joseph Doherty. Joe, how are you today?
I'm well, Rafe. Thanks. How are you?
Brilliant. Thanks for joining me. We're joined by a couple of lovely glasses of wine that Hannah picked up first.
We are indeed, yeah, absolutely. Don't
Cheers.
mind a bit of red wine.
Right. So, I suppose something that Joe and I really wanted to talk about today, or at least get started with, was some of the news that's come out from Manchester City about them apparently trying to hire influencers to promote the atmosphere at Champions League games. They released a statement along the lines of, although they really appreciate their fan base, they find that the midweek games don't appeal to their core fan base anymore, and that they think they want to try to market at least their fantastic atmosphere to students and new people to the city and try to bring in more fans. They've put out a request on an app called Tribe, a social media influencer app, to basically ask influencers to start promoting the atmosphere at the Etihad. Joe, very quickly, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a joke. What's this, like, Jesus Christ, it's actually insane that that a football club is actively going out there and looking for social media people, influencers as they're called, people with hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, or I don't know how many, just because they have a profile. I don't understand how that's going to raise the atmosphere in games if they're just going to be vlogging all the time. Like, that doesn't make sense. If you want to raise the atmosphere, you need to approach the hardcore fans and you ask them to contribute more in terms of the songs that you sing, maybe bring in drums and stuff like that, and get the atmosphere going and promote that. And do it online by all means, but asking influencers to be the ones.
I've got a wild idea here now.
Right.
Lower ticket prices maybe?
That could work as well. Yeah, I don't know what the average price of a match day ticket for the Champions League in the Etihad is.
But I mean, do they need to charge anything? In reality, do they really need to actually charge people of Manchester at the door to come and watch them?
Yeah, well, they're owned by the city of Abu Dhabi.
This is what I'm saying.
So, who have an infinite, there's not a limit to that. So, yeah, no, they don't. They don't. A simple answer, I suppose.
But I mean, if they were to charge £10 or £15 for a Champions League ticket, surely they could bring in all of the students. Anyway, it would become a student night out.
It would. You'd have a full house, wouldn't you?
Guaranteed. And it'd be a rowdy night as well. It'd be the young people that were too skint to go anywhere else. Like,
yeah, for sure. It would create a good atmosphere. It would also keep people away from going out to, people could still have a drink, but, it might take away less from going out to nightclubs during the week and stuff like that. People were going to the football. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're appealing to that market anyway, like, rather than, I don't know, paying influencers to talk up.
It's bullshit.
It kind of sums up where we are at the minute with football, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, where do you think that we are with football?
We're a long way from where football was when we started watching it. And I mean, when we started watching it, the Sky Sports revolution had begun, like. Yeah. Or was beginning, at least.
When we started watching it, everyone wore black boots and the pitches were full of mud. But at the same time, you had character, like, you had...
Man, Thierry Henry was playing, like...
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Absolutely.
He didn't wear black boots, man.
No, he didn't, but I guess Beckham was probably the first to stop wearing black boots.
Yeah, or to at least... He was definitely the first to start marketing his appearance, at least, and actually building a brand, as they call it, and looking after himself as a professional in a new way. Taking football as a career more than as a passion.
I suppose that he had a huge influence over the rest of, like, over modern day footballers today. He was the first one, like, to kind of go down that direction of merging. Like, I suppose the likes of George Best did it before, but like the one who really got huge would have been David Beckham, merging the lifestyle of a footballer and of a celebrity.
Yeah,
like.
I mean, footballers have always been pictured going on nights out, and they've always been celebrities in a way.
Yeah,
they've always been public figures.
Well, they've always been in the public eye. Yeah,
in the public eye,
naturally so.
But to actually embrace the cosmopolitan, glamorous lifestyle publicly, and
to have a celebrity wife, like. That's why Fergie has that famous, infamous quote now. I knew that Beck's time was done when he married Posh Spice. Like, he just couldn't understand why he was too old school to understand that, and their relationship was tarnished after that, apparently.
Is it just the players that have changed? Like, look, I spoke about Sky a minute ago. Maybe we'll talk about TV.
Fair.
For a little bit now. The money that's gone into the game has changed it, of course, hasn't it?
Yeah, of course, in a huge way. You think in terms of
do you think it's increased the pleasure of watching the Premier League, or it's taken away from it? Is the spectacle more or less than it was?
I think this is different if you are a fan that can go to games week in, week out.
Yeah, and we'd like to stress that we're not.
Yeah,
we live in Ireland.
Yeah, we live in Dublin. I support Arsenal, as you've probably seen from the biased, and Rafe supports Liverpool, who is he can be less biased, but like it's impossible for us to go to games week in. It's not easy for us to. We can't be match day going fans week in, week out, basically.
Definitely not.
So for us as people who watch it on TV, like the spectacle of the Premier League and how it's marketed, and like how the show, the glamour that's around it, is huge, and it is great, and it is better than when we.
But I mean, is it though? We had superstar players. We all wanted to be people, you know, all we talked about was footballers still then. I know that the social media presence is more, and maybe, I don't know, are teenagers more interested in footballers these days, actually wanting to be footballers for the wrong reasons? We wanted to be footballers for footballing reasons.
Yeah, I was obsessed with David Beckham until he left Manchester United to go to... Like I thought David Beckham was like the coolest.
My favourite footballer growing up was John Onorisa.
Yeah.
Just because he, but like, I mean, there's nothing flashy about John Onorisa.
No.
He was a footballer that played for my favourite team, and I used to play left back, and he played left back.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be Liverpool's left back, so I idolised John Onorisa.
Yeah, like Beckham, I used to take free kicks, and I used to play right midfield, so I used to want, you know, just the goals that he scored. But
it was all for football.
Yeah, it was, because I would like Beckham so much because I wanted to be able to take free kicks and put so much curl on the ball. Exactly. Yeah. It's for footballing reasons. I don't know if it's for other reasons, if it's the glamour and the lifestyle and the Instagram, and like, I don't know, like going to Dubai for a weekend to do a warm weather personal training and stuff like that.
But you see some footballers actually come out and talk about their real dislike for modern football.
Yeah.
Obviously, Danny Rose would be the most famous to come out and criticise it, but he's not the only one by any stretch of the imagination to come out and criticise the life of modern footballers.
Yeah.
Like, he says that it's just not, he doesn't enjoy it. It's become too professional, too rigid. It's not about the football anymore. The things you can and can't say, the places you can and can't do, you have to give up your entire lifestyle.
Yeah.
You can't be seen to be doing anything. You're totally, you can't have your own life anymore. You're owned by the football club.
Well,
and by your sponsors. But you're essentially their property as long as you're under contract.
But I think that's to do with the amount of money that's currently in the game. Like, if you look at, I don't know, the Beatles, when they were starting out and going touring and stuff like that, they couldn't get out. Like, they couldn't go out because anything they did would be scrutinized, and like people would just be swarming on them, and they were so noticeable. So for footballers now, they are. You could go. Danny Rose, like, he's a left back who plays for Tottenham, but he could walk around Dublin city centre, and anyone who watches
a lot of footballers could walk around
who he is. But they're like, you know, you can't escape the public eye once you're in it, and once there's that level of money involved, of course you can't be going around doing stupid things.
But I mean, footballers did it for so long, so publicly. Footballers were the lads.
Yeah.
They went out in the beer, like the class 92. You hear them being interviewed about it regularly, how much they used to go out in the piss. Before, after games, after training. You know, it was all about whoever was the latest out had to be the first one out training, and that was the attitude. Like,
I watched a very interesting. It came out a year ago. Do you remember Niall Ranger, who used to play for Newcastle?
I do.
Infamous character. He did a podcast with the True Geordie, who's obviously like the maybe probably the biggest football YouTuber in the world. And Niall Ranger was basically saying that when Alan Shearer took over at Newcastle, I think it was after Kevin Keegan, 2009, something like that he instilled a curfew across the city, and that he hired people to work in specific nightclubs and bars, and that if any of the lads tried to get in, then they'd be given a hefty fine the next day. So they were all having to go to Leeds and places like that to enjoy a night out. And I don't know how far away Leeds is from Newcastle exactly, but it's a good kind of 2-hour drive, I'd say. Like Newcastle's
Easily,
right up the northeast, and Leeds is a little bit. Leeds is
Yorkshire.
Yeah. So it's much further down. But yeah, mad. But that's like that's the thing. Like at the same time, Ranger was the sort of guy who would go out and he'd find himself getting done for drunken disorderly behaviour.
Drunk driving.
Yeah. So how does that reflect on the club when you're going out on the piss and you can't control yourself to the state and you're knocking lads out and you're, for whatever reason, like you can't be doing that. No.
And I mean, like Joey Barton went to jail as well.
Yeah. There's been lots. Troy Deeney went to jail as well.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, there's been lots of footballers who've gone to prison.
Yeah, and those, like, obviously there's loads of footballers that have gone. There's a handful that are big famous ones, but I mean there are lots of people that go from underage football, fall off the grid.
Yeah.
We won't go down that.
No. That's a bit, like, you know, that's a tough world when you're in that youth setup, and like maybe you come from a less well off background where petty crime is commonplace. Like it's quite easy to get caught up in that sort of thing, isn't it? Before, like, if your friends, if your family are involved in that, like it'd be easy to get caught up in it.
Yeah, definitely. Scheduling, it's something that's affecting people. Obviously, like we said, we're viewers at home from Ireland. We watch the games on TV.
Yeah.
We are the people that the scheduling is almost being done around. Overseas viewers that can't come and travel to games, they want to see as many Premier League games as possible. They want to talk about them. And it's people over in the UK, players and fans, that are paying the price for it.
Yeah.
In recent news, Liverpool's trip to Leicester on Boxing Day has moved to an 8 p.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic for those of us that want to sit at home and watch 5 back-to-back Premier League games on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
But if you're a travelling Liverpool fan looking to get a coach home from Leicester at what? 9:30?
Nah.
10?
Half 10.
11.
By the time you get out of the ground.
Like what? It's a 2.5 hour drive back to Liverpool City Centre.
Yeah.
They'll drop you off at Liverpool City Centre at 1 a.m.
And then where'd you get? You have to get it
on Boxing Day, like.
Oh Jesus, it's cruel. That's insane. Like that like you said, it's so paralleled and it's so divided for those of us who aren't match day, like for international fans, I guess you could say, because we're not from the UK. It's great you get 4 or 5 matches back to back on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. It's like the World Cup when you have 4 games throughout the day. It's amazing.
It is.
But for those like, it's so cruel on those fans. The day after Christmas to be expected to have to make their way, like, Jesus Christ, finishing up 2.5 hours away from home at close to midnight. And although Liverpool are being good and they are driving, and that's the best they can do.
But a lot of teams,
isn't it?
Like, I think there's a 2 or 3 day turnaround then before the next game.
Yeah, of course, but it's always like that. And this is the controversy about the.
I mean, other countries have a winter break.
Yeah, but you don't want that.
No, you
don't. The Christmas football is brilliant. That's what we love. It's just that this instance in particular, and we've seen a number of them over recent years, is a disgrace. It's not fair on the match day going fans, and we can empathise with them. We would love to be going. If we were going to that game, we'd be so psyched to see our team. Yeah. But at the same time, you'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" FA, or like they're doing it just because Sky Sports or BT or whatever, or is it Amazon? Sorry,
it's Amazon. It's not just them.
Yeah, it's Amazon who are specifically doing this game.
Yeah,
and they want
it to be available for the American audience.
Exactly. That's insane. I'm sorry, but the American audience should have to get up at the usual time that they get up at to watch it, and they're used to that. And that's not putting out the American audience, but how can an English football league be catering be changing game times that affect English fans, match day going fans, in a negative way, just to suit audiences in the United States?
I think recently it was one of Lille's games. The kickoff time had been changed. It had gone super early to accommodate viewers in China. So a lot of the Lille supporters got together, got a big massive free to bet banner and started passing it around.
Oh Jesus,
we're
not going to get into politics on this podcast. Not yet. It's too early days for that.
No, but I just think it's funny when you look at the globalisation of football, how people in one part of the world can take a stand at football games about what's happening on other sides of the planet. Like we had touched on racism over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, massively after the England-Bulgaria thing, but it was interesting. I don't know if you saw Jamie Carragher and
Patrice Evra.
Patrice Evra.
Yeah.
I had it written down. I voted for him as the best left back in the of the decade.
Yeah.
I did.
I think I did as well. Actually, I didn't want to vote for Ashley Cole.
No, you
You
couldn't.
couldn't.
Could you? Anyway, Carragher and Evra talking about the Suarez incident,
Yeah.
and obviously Suarez was banned for 8 games for using words that were deemed to be racially unsensitive or basically wrong.
Yeah.
Evra came out last night and said that he never accused him of being a racist. He just wanted to highlight that this language can't be used or whatever.
Yeah.
And Carragher, interesting enough, came out and said that Liverpool got it absolutely dead wrong.
Yeah.
6 years ago, they got it absolutely dead wrong. They obviously all came out wearing Luis Suarez t-shirts, his face on the back of them, and just as a show of support for him in his ban.
Yeah. I thought at the time, I think it was 2012, was it, or 2011, something like that. That it was very strange. Like, I've never seen a
2013, I think it was.
Was it as late as that?
It was just before he moved. No,
it was Ivanovic that he bid that time. No. Anyway, it's 2011-12, something like that. But I thought it was very strange that they came out wearing t-shirts in support of him, because we never see that, like,
we rarely see statements like that.
No, it would be like if someone, I don't know, did Aston Villa do that for Stilian Petrov when he had leukemia? That's the sort of thing
exactly
that you
what
do it for.
I think City did it when
City
someone got injured. I think Mendy hurt his. No, it wasn't Mendy. Someone hurt their knee a couple of years ago.
No, he did, didn't he? He was out for the season and they wore t-shirts. I thought that
was definitely over the top.
Yeah, it was. No, for someone like Petrov, who's absolute legend of the game and always played it in the spirit.
That's totally understandable and respectable and commendable.
Yeah. But I thought it was bizarre at the time.
No.
And they hadn't had any...
But I mean...
There'd been no indication that he was innocent. It'd be like people...
Man, there were cameras. He dropped an N-bomb, like...
Yeah. It was shocking.
Everyone saw it. There was no debating it. And Carragher said that it wasn't organised by the club. He didn't think, or by any of the managerial staff.
But then who organised it?
The players closest to Luis Suarez in the dressing room, and once a handful of them got on board, no one wanted to stand up against it. And Carragher only heard about it on the mat. It all sounded a little bit kind of like pass you the buck. We're not old enough to actually tell you who organised it, but at the same time, it was just, I don't know. He said he didn't know who organised it. It was just one of those things on the day.
No, that's
but he should have spoken up about it at the time, kind of job, like.
But that's just PR bullshit, I'm afraid.
Total PR. He knows exactly who.
Yeah. Of course he does. But I mean, that obviously he's not going to spill the beans.
No, he's not. He kind of went. He apologised for it and said Liverpool got it totally wrong. The players got it totally wrong. But at the same time, he seemed to come to that conclusion on air while he was talking to Patrice Evra. It was not something that he ever thought about before or deemed necessary to come out with.
It very much seems like
did he ever regret it up to that point yesterday?
No, literally because it was convenient. And how could you, against Patrick, like,
how could you turn around and argue for what you had done?
Yeah, what sort of man would that make him out to be if he had argued against Patrice Evra on television,
on live national television?
Jesus Christ. No.
Yeah.
So it was all a bit strange at the time. Like, still, it's strange. I think with these things, you really have to. I mean, there are cases where like, this was a case where the accuser was guilty. There are obviously cases where you have to where the accused is innocent. But with all of these, you can't start making public displays before a football match where like imagine if Ronaldo, who was recently accused of rape and he was cleared. But imagine if Juventus had worn, or Portugal and
come in.
You can't do that.
No.
Like, you can't. You have to wait until it's been proved in a court of law, and then you can support whoever if you need to.
Hello and welcome to part 2. We'd like to talk a little bit about VAR. Joe, some big talking points this weekend. We've written them down so we don't forget them. I want to ask you your opinion on, firstly, Liverpool United. Sadio Mane, handball.
Yeah, it was a handball.
It was a
clear handball.
It
came
was.
up off his knee and...
It didn't even, he kind of even missed it with his knee. It was rubbish. I said it on race reviews. It was rubbish. It was a handball.
Yeah, it was clear. I don't think there can be any complaints with that.
Okay, Divock Origi.
Yeah, he was tripped. He was clipped at the back by Lindelof. A lot of people are, some people, I think,
United fans.
Yeah, are saying that he didn't really touch him or that he made a meal out of it. But he came in behind him. Like, you know yourself, if you're playing football and you're waiting for the ball to come to you and you get a kick behind, like, it actually makes you fall over.
It tends to, yeah.
Like, you're trying to concentrate on one thing and someone takes it.
Whether or not it was enough to make him fall over,
it was still a foul.
He still kicked him in the back of the leg.
You can't do that.
You can't.
No,
it's in the laws.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Look, I said on Rafe Reviews again. What a great show that is. I said that it did seem a bit soft, and that he's a big man. He maybe could have stayed on his feet, but importantly, it was a shit touch. He let the ball get away from him, and he was going to get nicked anyway.
Yeah.
So possibly the referee decided that.
The ball,
he'd already lost the ball.
They'd played, but still, that
you can't come to.
You can't even if you only clip someone, like, you can't. No, it was a clear foul.
It was actually interesting with this one. I saw Jamie in that same show we spoke about earlier, Jamie Carragher. I don't know him personally, for the record. Talking about the referee's point of view of the incident. He had like these mad 3D headset glasses on. He was looking around the studio and he had it up on a big wall. The ref's view was blocked of the incident. He didn't see the tackle.
Right. But they go back to VAR for that? Isn't that what VAR is for, to check?
That's what VAR is for, but VAR assumed that the referee had seen the incident and didn't see a foul. So they didn't want to overrule the referee's decision.
But this is the thing about VAR, and if you compare it to other sports, is that when it goes from the on-field referee, umpire, whatever sport it is, upstairs to the technological referee or umpire, then it is that referee or umpire's decision. And if they see that it's a clear foul, then it's a foul, and it should be a free kick, and you can't allow play to continue, and it should be overruled. Like,
but I mean, they do it with offsides.
Yeah, they do.
But they say, no, this one was actually offside. Yes, it was by half a toenail in front of the stupid line or whatever it was, but definitively this happened.
They do it with goal line technology as well.
Definitively this crossed the line. Definitively, did he kick him?
Yeah.
Is there contact?
Yeah.
And that contact might have to be minuscule. You might, but do we run a risk then of, do you know what I mean, if players don't go down, do they have to highlight this contact? Because I mean, there could be a coming together off the ball as someone passes a ball that could be come back to a check.
VAR, when it is going to be, and it's still in its fledgling days, like, we have to remember that it's going to take a while to get it right. But when it is being used right, it should mean that players don't have to go down to get the free kick or penalty that they deserve.
Yeah,
it should mean that you can continue your run and it can be brought back and VAR can check it and the free kick or penalty could be given. Because players have become so accustomed to having to go down to get a free kick. Because if they don't, the referee just doesn't give it.
So, could refereeing change along with it? The on-field refereeing, could it change?
It should, because refereeing in the Premier League is shit. And it's been shit for a long time.
Look, in comparison to a lot of the other leagues,
we do find that out in some of the European competitions.
Well, in all of the European competitions, in all of the international competitions, and even in some of the foreign domestic league games. Like, if you look at La Liga, you can't sneeze on someone without it being a foul, and we find that very difficult to understand over here.
But is it a really difficult job? I mean, we see it in...
And it's I referee kids' games sometimes. It's impossible.
Yeah. Like, I find cricket umpiring to be, like, I'm very critical of the umpire when they get it wrong, but like
with cricket umpiring, at least you are watching everything straight in front of you. When you're refereeing, it's like playing centre midfield. Everything's 360, man. And you're running as well. You're trying to keep up with it. You've got to get the best view the whole time without getting in the way of the ball.
Yeah. Are we overly critical then of fans of referees?
Of course, but
we expect, because they're at that high level, that we expect them to be getting it. We expect a Pierluigi Collina in every game, don't we?
Like, if you look at how they do it differently in other sports, we can talk about VAR reviews, which is something I know that we're both in favour of, in terms of giving reviews to the coaching staff, whereas Jurgen Klopp could have not maybe dramatically thrown a flag on the field like they do in the NFL, but like challenged it.
Yeah.
Maybe the way they do in tennis, just signalled, I want to challenge that decision.
Yeah.
Go have a look at that. Did he kick him? And you have 2 per game. I know people would say 2 per half or whatever. You've got 2 per game, and if you get it right, you keep it.
Well, you have challenges in other sports, so it's probably... But again,
But that takes it away from someone... Do you know when a goal goes in?
Yeah.
And everyone's saying, oh, is he onside? Is he not? Like, unless it is obvious, unless all of the players are jumping up and down screaming, oh, here, he was offside, talking to their coach saying, go and check this. We don't need to check every single thing.
Yeah.
If it's not obvious to the players on the pitch at the time, it doesn't need to be relevant. Like, whereas if all the players on the field, because they've got the best view, feel that's a free kick, that's a foul, he's kicked him, or that's a handball, go back and check that. They're the ones that you want to listen to.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean, if in any other sport it's the same. If you're playing cricket, the review doesn't come from the management team up in the pavilion. It comes from the guy standing at wicketkeeper or at first slip that heard that nick or didn't hear the nick.
Yeah, yeah. But that I think that's I think it's difficult to compare cricket to football and the role, the power of players in regards to the authority that they have in cricket.
Of course, but I mean, if say the captain, the on-field captain, was allowed to challenge two decisions, and obviously the manager could say to captain, go challenge that decision, or the players in the field could all say, skipper, you got to check this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The captain's got two appeals per game.
Yeah. It's definitely something that they should look into. Yeah.
I think so. I'd be passionate about that, and actually not reviewing everything. Because there's so much of this VAR pending, VAR reviewing, and a lot of the fans in the stadium aren't even aware of what's being checked.
Yeah.
If an offside is so marginal that it has to be checked, go with the referee's one. Because even in the pub the other day, I haven't actually watched the big game out and about with the lads this year. And when Liverpool equalised it in the last few minutes, obviously I got a bit carried away. I was jumping up and down shouting, and one of the lads said, "Oh, I hope he wasn't offside."
Yeah.
And suddenly we all stopped and thought, shit, what if he's offside? This is going to be the worst. Like, and even with the Mane goal, it went in, and then wait, is it going to be given? I know the referee said it was a goal, but
that's true. But we're so used to this is another thing that just is going to have to take time. And again, they get it right in other sports. And, and you
but
know
I mean, unless everyone's jumping up and down saying he's offside, is there a reason to actually go back and check if he's offside or not?
Yeah, I would say that there is. Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah, you need to get that. If you're bringing it in, it's to get every call right, isn't it? It's to make sure that all of the calls are right.
But do you take away from the spectacle then? What makes football is the emotion and the passion that goes behind it. Like I know football is a results business, and the managers of football clubs and fans sometimes like to think that they're financially invested in clubs or that they own shares of the clubs.
Yeah.
And they demand to see their clubs treated fairly. But like, we all love football because we love seeing goals. We love seeing teams winning. We love seeing people fighting out there. Like, it's a competition.
It is.
If you knew you were going to win every game, it wouldn't be fun. Like.
But you know what's strange is that I don't think the football has ever been more about entertainment and the value of entertainment than now. And to introduce VAR at this point in time is strange.
It's really strange.
Yeah.
Especially the way that they've done it as well, because they've been taking these VAR breaks. They've been only overruling offsides and handballs, barring, we're going to talk about him in a couple of minutes, a shocker the other day. We will talk actually a bit more about the other incidents. Delafeu was kicked by Vertonghen in the Spurs game, and it seemed that Danny Rose was kicked at the other end as well.
Yeah. I thought they were both clear penalties actually. There was a bit of debate on Twitter saying that Rose dived, but I thought that his legs got clipped, and I thought Delafeu was definitely taken out.
Raheem Sterling appeared to be pushed over by Wilfried Zaha.
Yeah, I think we could both agree that he was pushed.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't one of those clear like.
We saw Salah get 3 or 4 of those last year, and I think again with refereeing, things can be clear and definitive if somebody if a defender puts their hands on a striker in the box who's in possession of a ball, you could normally imagine that that's going to result in a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely.
You defend with your hands down, especially with the new handball laws. You've got no reason to bring your hands forward at all.
No, you don't.
You defend with your hands behind your back while you're playing football now. Like,
you're taking a huge risk, and you're putting your team in trouble by putting your hands up. And just in terms of those calls, football has become so much about different people's interpretations.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there are lots of people who thought that the Sterling incident wasn't a penalty because he didn't physically push him to the ground.
No, and I get that.
It's
if you want to make it as uniformly as possible, if you want to take the subjectivity away from some of the decisions, you've got to make rules that if you put your hands on a player, it's a free kick. It's not if you push them to the ground, it's if you put your hands on them.
But that's what they're trying to do, but they're not being consistent with it. And they're not being consistent with it in match day referees, and they're not being consistent with
Socrates was the same thing.
Yeah. Socrates had his shirt pulled when he was jumping for a header at a corner. Like literally had his shirt grabbed the whole entire way he was jumping.
Listen, hang on a second. That's a little bit Arsenal.
It's not a little bit Arsenal.
As he left the ground, there was a slight tug on his shirt. And a lot of people
he's running to
Man, I understand as someone that goes regularly trying to win headers, how much that can put you off. I understand that like it is a foul. It's a free kick. It's a penalty.
It was a clear penalty. When I play football, I'm all into the physical side of the game and putting a challenge in. What I wouldn't do is start grabbing someone's shirt.
Man, I do it all the time
because you
do it all the time, Marla, because we've got no VAR.
But
no, look, man, absolutely. When it happens to me, I feel like it should be a penalty. Of course. And it was a penalty.
Yeah.
It wasn't massive contact, but again, if you put in the rule, if there's a hand on the shirt,
that's it. Then you have to stand by that rule, and you have to be consistent with it. And this is the big problem. Is like I said just a minute ago, with both the match day referees and the VAR officials, that they're not being consistent.
I think the laws have to be clarified. The way they've done with handball, I know people are really getting annoyed with it, but I mean, if it hits your hand, you're going to expect that's going to be a free against you at this stage.
The thing is that
if you are a tiny bit offside, you're going to have to expect that to be given against you. If you start putting your hands on people, you're going to have to start expecting that's going to be a free against you.
I'm sure that not everyone is actually 100% familiar with what the rules in football are.
This is it, because they are so subjective.
Absolutely, yeah. But they're not, at the same time, they're not subjective. Like, they are there. They're just not being used correctly.
No, when we talk about even the new handball laws, I'm not even sure if they are new handball laws. They're just being interpreted differently. The new interpretations of the original handball law. Like, yeah, if interpretations can change without the wording of the law changing, surely the law has to be clarified.
Yeah.
Who else have we got? Johnny Evans.
For before we even get into whether that was a foul or not, there was no way that he was chasing that ball down. That ball was goal bound. After we established that, the best he could do would be to kick it up into the roof of the net.
Yeah.
I didn't see any contact, and I watched
I didn't see any contact either.
It's absolutely bizarre. Dele Alli, I thought that was a handball.
He caught the thing, man, didn't he?
Just bumped it off this part.
He caught it like
this part. It's not.
Your bicep is your arm.
It is, yeah.
If it hit him inside the shoulder, once it hits you outside the shoulder, you're done.
Do you know that it flashed up on the screen? No goal.
I did.
Oh, Jesus Christ! It was just that's the thing, that this weekend for VAR was so bad. There were so many.
They got a couple right. We said they got Mane right.
Yeah.
They got Jimenez right.
Well, they got Jimenez. Well, they got Wolves right twice. There's a handball from Jimenez, quite similar to the Mane, and he went through and scored. And then there was a counter attack where Patrick Cutrone was caught offside by a yard. His leg. This is another kind of controversial new call, but if you look at the line, his leg is way offside. So
yeah,
Jimenez then put the ball in the back of the net, but it was definitely.
I would be a fan of the line being drawn slightly somewhere else. I mean, maybe daylight between the two players, or I prefer to see a little bit more advantage given to the striker, because I think we're going to lose out in goals. But at the same time, you can see that there is consistency with the decision, and it's taking away, like, there either is onside or offside now by the law.
Yeah, but like that's it. Like,
I think the law should be slightly different, but at least it's consistent.
Yeah, that if there's any kind of doubt, that you go. Like, that you give the attacker the benefit of the doubt.
But that is the law as it stands. And I mean, there should be. I know we talked about how it's used in cricket. With LBW decisions, they can't predict exactly how that ball is going to bounce and the exact trajectory of it. So within a few millimeters around the ball, they leave it down as umpires call or umpires decision.
Yeah, and you have to give the batsman the benefit of the doubt there.
Well, even. If the on-field umpire says out, they'll back that call up, and even in rugby as well, they'll say, I can't see anything I can't see any reason why not. Depending on how the question is asked, is there any reason I can't?
It's when it's in that
award
grey.
this?
It's when it's in that grey area.
They'll say, I've made my decision. Is this?
Yeah.
Is there any reason I should change it? And if it's within, I think there should be 2 lines drawn. And if it's within those 2 lines, if it's within a handful of millimeters either side or a couple of centimeters either side,
Yeah.
it should go with whatever the original linesman's call was, because he's the one that sees it best. The human eye sees considerably more frames per second than any Ultra HD camera.
Yeah. Do you think they're doing that with some of these controversial VAR calls with regards
I
to
don't think they're doing it with
referees?
offside. They're definitely doing it with the referees.
They're saying, right, there's a bit of doubt. That
Massively. They really don't want to overrule the referees. I'm really surprised that they did it with Leicester.
Yeah, Jesus, with Johnny Evans.
Yeah. Like, if you look at some of the others, if you look at Delafeu, if you look at Dele Alli, if you look at Socrates, like, they all should have been overturned.
Yeah.
Origi probably as well by the letter of the law.
Yeah.
Now, there was another controversial incident this weekend. Aaron Moy was sent off for 2 highly debatable yellow cards.
I don't think that I've seen a worse red card ever. Like both
Alexis Sanchez received a 2nd yellow card for diving. He did in the Inter game recently.
You see that a lot, but with Moy, like the first one, he goes and he kicks the ball away when Aston Villa are trying to take a free kick, and the second one he dives in when he has no chance of winning the ball. It's literally like he forfeited his.
He wants to take his holidays over the next couple of weeks, man.
That's it.
He's got a ski holiday planned with the wife.
Yeah, it's like people getting a booking at Christmas. No, shocking. Red card.
Right, we're getting through most of our content. The last thing that you want to talk about was Arsenal.
Yeah.
All good things, I'm sure.
No. I don't think there's much good coming out of Arsenal at the moment, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, Lacazette might be top goal scorer again.
Lacazette,
Aubameyang. Yeah,
maybe. If we can actually start providing him with chances, he didn't even have a shot yesterday. 2 days on Monday, didn't even have a shot.
No,
our striker, away to Sheffield United. I think it's a damning indication of how Arsenal are playing at the moment, like especially away from home, but then even more so in the Premier League. Like, I don't think that Arsenal have won a game by more than 2 goals in the Premier League all season. Arsenal.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean, like,
flowing, usual free-flowing attacking football. Like, might be weak at the back, but they'll always score.
Yeah, you sent me some great stats this morning about the Emery and Wenger comparison.
The late Wenger, the Wenger's last 47 games and Emery's first.
Do you want the stats?
Yeah, you can give me the stats. I think I can remember them pretty well. I think that
they're ingrained in your head at this stage.
What about the same? Lost more.
Okay, so after, was it 47 games? 47 games, yeah. Wins. Who had more?
Wenger had more, didn't he?
In his last 47 games, Wenger won 26 games, and in his first 47, Emery has won 25.
Yeah. And Wenger had scored more goals and conceded less.
90 to 86 and 59 to 63.
This is
goals conceded, clean sheets 17 to 10. Emery's kept 10 clean sheets in 47 games.
This is really worrying. If you look at our away record as well, I think that we've played 24 away games in the Premier League since he took over. We've lost 10. We've won 8. We've drawn 6. That's below average.
I mean,
away form.
They kept their first away clean sheet to Newcastle this year, and we joked that equaled the number of clean sheets that they kept away in the Premier League last year.
Yeah.
They kept 1 on the road last year.
Yeah, it's really poor. That was the worst record of any side in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's really poor. I think that Emery was tasked with a number of things when he was appointed manager. The most important one, getting back in the Champions League.
Yeah.
As well as that, I think that he was probably tasked with adding much needed structure and tactical nous to the side, because under Wenger it just deteriorated to a state where we were very unstructured, and there wasn't really a game plan other than go out and express yourself. And of course the most, apart from the Champions League, but another very important aspect was to improve the away form. You'd have to say that on all of those 3 fronts that he's failed. Where I will give him some credit, aside from bringing in young players, is that he has instilled a fighting spirit. When we went 2-0 down to Tottenham, we came back. When we went 2-1 down to Aston Villa, we came back and we won.
Okay.
There has been many more matches where we have...
He's also a bit keener to substitute players when things aren't working. He's less stubborn in that way. He's willing to admit that he got the team selection a little bit wrong, or not even admit he got it wrong, just make changes.
But he is. But then on the flip side, like, how many times
he gets it wrong every time?
That's it. Like, how many times does he have to make a substitution at halftime, or 2 substitutions at halftime?
And they're the same substitutions normally.
Yeah, it is. He's struggling big time, isn't he? He's not getting his. He doesn't know his best team at all. And after
he's also made the bold decision to totally annex the club's highest earner, and who many fans would consider to be their best player, their most creative player, certainly.
Yeah.
It's bizarre that he doesn't even make the bench, Joe, because you feel like in games like Sheffield United the other day, they were really crying out for somebody late on in the game to just hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
To just do something, to make a chance out of nothing. Because I mean, they were really poor the other day creatively. They actually had more of the ball and just couldn't do anything with it. And I know that Ozil's work rate gets criticised and his desire and his passion and stuff. But I mean, late on in the game, when Sheffield United have been chasing the ball for 60 or 70 minutes, and that press isn't as quick, it's not as in your face as it will be at the start of a Premier League game. Like, surely he's the man that you want trying to make things happen.
I completely agree. There's been a flip side argument from a number of Arsenal fans saying that if Ozil is only good enough to make the bench at the moment, then why let him make the bench at all? At the same time, if he's only good enough to make the bench, you should be looking to use him in a very specific way off the bench. And that example that you've just given about when other teams are tiring and he's the guy who can come on and can put a pass in that they won't expect, that's a case for having him on the bench and for using him in the latter stages of the game.
If people acknowledge that he's only good enough to be on the bench, he's still good enough to be on the bench.
Yeah.
By acknowledging that, you're agreeing that he is good enough to be there. Why be upset about it? Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I think that the way that we're looking to play with the 4-3-3, he doesn't obviously fit into the team every week, but to completely freeze him out, even though he's really not performed regularly at all and is very disappointing, to completely leave him out is bizarre, and it's.
But I mean, who started in the Arsenal team the other day? I know Emery's trying to give these young guys a go, but was that the right atmosphere and environment to start the 2 young lads, Saka and Willock? Was it? Yeah.
I actually did think Joe Willock should have been given a game. I think that he has the physical qualities to do well in games like that. I was really surprised by how poorly he played. I mean, but with Saka, I thought that we should have started Martinelli, who's also raw, but he's from Brazil. Like, there's a bit of a difference between a young Brazilian lad and a young English lad in terms of the like kind of the culture behind them and that. I think the street
emotional maturity.
Like. Yeah. The streetwise nature, the like, you're forced to grow.
Well, look, if you're playing on the other side of the world to where you grew up, obviously you're going to have a lot more life experience.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought he seemed a little bit more ready.
Do you think that though? It shouldn't be the task of the young players to try to improve Arsenal's away form. Like, those guys, if they need to be blooded, should be blooded at home, in front of their own fans, guys backing them up, where Arsenal are normally expected to win. They want to go into that environment, surely, rather than, like, Bramall Lane. They don't want to be starting a game. Well, obviously, they'd be dying to start every single game, but I mean, like, if you're going to play them in one game, why would give them a taste of Bramall Lane on a Monday night? Like, surely you're looking at the senior players in the squad to step up and handle that, because it was going to be a banana skin. It was always going to be a banana skin. I said last week it was going to be a banana skin.
Yeah, you did. You called it. I just think this.
Like, don't task the kids with that.
No, I'm just trying to think about the team, the team and how it's structured.
How long is Emery there now?
Yeah, just over a year. Honestly, the biggest criticism that one of the biggest criticisms I could give of him is that Like, he's made Granit Xhaka club captain and he starts him every game and he's undroppable.
But I mean, Torreira was your best holding midfielder last year.
Yeah, he was. He doesn't get a game. When he's played as a number 10, high pressing, attacking midfielder. It's crazy. He's putting all his eggs in one basket in building the team around Granit Xhaka. And as much as I do think there's a player in there, when you make someone undroppable, as he's been since like the first 6 months of his time at the club, he's started every single game he's been available for.
Yeah.
That you're gradually going to get a decrease in performance. If you look at the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva at Manchester City, they don't start every game. There'll be a couple of games from time to time where they're
Sergio Aguero doesn't start every game.
Sergio Aguero doesn't start every game.
Raheem Sterling doesn't start every game.
Yeah, there'll be several games throughout the season where these guys, these amazing players, are not in the starting 11, and it just gives them that added incentive to make sure that they are absolutely on the ball. With Xhaka,
but like, we're not talking about an elite player in Xhaka.
No, we're not. We're talking about someone who should be being used as a squad player at best.
Someone he should be the cover for the other guys.
I think that he should be being used to come on and kind of slow the game down when you're winning. Like,
you take off your number 10 and bring on this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Do like that slow, like that laborious passing midfielder who can just slow the game down and keep possession and stuff like that. He's not someone to build your team around in the Premier League, and it's not working for Emery at all, is it?
Doesn't seem to be Joe.
Yeah.
Right. How do you think they'll get on this weekend?
At home to Crystal Palace.
Home to Palace on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. Win. Arsenal win.
Score?
3-1.
Yeah? No clean sheet?
No clean sheet. Wilfried Zaha's playing against us, man.
Okay, so hang on. I want to do both of these this time. I didn't write them down last week. Bad idea. 3-1 says Joe. Arsenal Palace. Oh, Palace do love going on the road to somewhere like Arsenal.
Oh, they beat us.
I'm going to say 1-1. I'm going to say draw.
They beat us last season. No. We're not going to draw at home to Crystal Palace after losing.
You told me last week they weren't going to lose to Sheffield United, man.
Arsenal just lost to Sheffield United.
I know, man.
I
think things are going to get worse before they get better.
No,
I think Emery knows he's on the way out. Anyway, the rest of the weekend. Joe, Southampton, Leicester. Do you have anything you want to say about that one? Friday night.
I think Leicester will continue their impressive start to the season.
Look, Southampton look very muck.
Yeah. Do you know what about Leicester?
Tell me.
What top teams have they played so far? It seems that they've had a really, really, really comfortable start.
They played Liverpool, I know that.
Yeah, and they played United, and they lost those games.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just wait until they play, even as Spurs. Wait until they play Arsenal. Wait until they play City.
Even as Spurs.
Chelsea. Like, they've not...
Score?
I'll go 2-1 again.
Leicester?
Yeah, I went 2-1 with Leicester last week. They love a 2-1.
Joe's going to say 2-1. I'm going to say 1-0 Leicester. Man City take on Villa at home at the early kick-off on Saturday.
The Saturday kick-off can occasionally be a surprise. I do not think that it'll be a surprise this time. Routine win.
How many centre-backs is Pep going to play?
Stones is back, but...
is he going to play him?
Rodri and Fernandinho... No, Fernandinho gave away a penalty yesterday. They kept a clean sheet in the Premier League, but they in the Champions League they conceded a goal. I'd say he might continue with the two of them.
Score?
He might. 4-0.
4-0.
Yeah, 4-0 to City, obviously.
I'm going to say 5-1.
Do you know what? As much as I hate Man City, sometimes they're really nice to watch. Like, their attacking play is really good.
But I mean, they're of course they are.
Did you see Sterling Silva's goal last weekend? It was fucking class.
But I mean, Joe, they're the Galacticos.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like the all-star team of the Premier League. Like, you know, they're the EPL all-stars, and they're still not even top of the league.
Yeah, I know.
Brighton, Everton.
I'll go for a draw. Score draw 1-1.
Everton looked pretty good last time out. Brighton have been playing some good football, especially at home.
Brighton should have beaten Villa if it wasn't for
Yeah, oh man, there's going to be goals in this one.
I said 1-1.
I'm going to say 3-2 Brighton. You said 1-1?
Yeah, I said 1-1. I wouldn't be surprised if either team won, but yeah, 1-1.
Watford against Bournemouth, Saturday afternoon.
I think Watford will finally get their first win, you know. I thought they were really unlucky against Spurs. They played really well.
Score?
2-1 Watford.
I think Bournemouth are especially lethal on the road. I think they're actually due a win after the last couple of games, and I think that Watford are going to continue with their misery at the bottom of the table. I think Bournemouth are going to take this one 3-1. West Ham take on Sheffield United.
Home?
Home.
West Ham have been really poor recently.
They've not got great results recently. They've had a couple of away games though, and they tend to be better at home.
Yeah.
Having said that, Palace did them at home, but having said that, Palace love being away from home.
I was impressed with Sheffield United against Arsenal, but I'll still go for a West Ham win at home, 2-0.
I think Sheffield United are a home team, and they're gonna have gassed themselves out a little bit.
Yeah, they
last weekend. West Ham are due a win. Do we see Sheffield United scoring? No, Joe. Like, you've taken 2-0. Can I take 2-0 as well?
Of course.
What happens if we share it?
That we share it, that's fine. It's just a point each.
That we're not sharing it, man. We're gonna have different scores. I'm gonna say 3-0. Burnley, Chelsea. Interesting one. Let's actually talk about this for a second.
I think Burnley are going to get a result.
Chelsea struggled against Newcastle.
Chelsea are getting a lot of praise because Frank Lampard is a media darling. He's an FA darling. He is. There's no denying.
Undeniably, yes.
Undeniably.
They also play some really nice football.
They've been playing some decent football. They really have. And I've been very impressed with some of their players. Mason Mount. I'm a huge fan of Callum Hudson-Odoi. However,
Tammy Abraham.
No, yeah, he's class as well. He's been very good. He's got 8 goals already. That's fantastic. I think that defensively their structure is still not quite right.
I think Rudiger is due back the weekend after the weekend coming.
Yeah. So he's not available this weekend for a very.
Marcus Alonso has actually found some form recently.
Yeah, well, there's always been a player there. He was a phenomenal left wing back under Conte, but he had a really poor time under Sarri.
Emerson also looks good at left back, so they've got competition there.
Neither of them are especially good defensively. Emerson's a bit better, but neither of them are particularly good defensively. I don't think that their defensive structure is all that. I don't.
They've got N'Golo Kante. This is what they were missing at the start of the year. N'Golo Kante completes that package.
Yeah, since he came back, they have.
He's the same as playing 3 CDMs, man. It's N'Golo Kante. He's the best in the world at that.
He is.
Tactically, physically, like, imagine playing against him. Imagine being a number 8 or a number 10 trying to play against N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, it'd be tough. I still think they're not the finished article defensively.
But having said that, Burnley aren't going to try thread passes through the middle of the pitch, are they?
There's only one way that Sean Dyche will play.
Is it going to be balls on the ground that Kante can intercept?
Well, what are the 2 strikers he's been going with? It's
Wood and Barnes.
Wood and Barnes, yeah. They're both target men. He plays with 2 target men.
So, do you think Chelsea are resilient enough to take a battering at Burnley?
Do you know what? I'm going to go for a 2-1 Burnley win. Shock of the weekend, 2-1 Burnley win.
Gotta say 0-0 draw, pal. Newcastle Wolves. Speaking of 0-0,
tasty fixture. I think that could be a 0-0. I think that has 0-0 written all over it. Wolves might get a penalty in him.
This is Sunday night. It's the first Sunday game.
Yeah. I think I'll go 0-0 with that.
St James's Park.
We
spoke about Steve Bruce's ability to take points off the teams in and around the drop zone. You said you didn't think he had it in him.
Wolves are not a team in and around the drop zone. They're a mid-table team, a high. They're 11th now, but realistically they should be kind of 8th, 7th, 8th.
Man, people don't have a right to slots in the Premier League.
No, they don't. I'm just saying.
They're playing European football this year. They're going to be playing Thursday.
They are.
They're going to have played last night.
yeah. No. Are you going for a Newcastle win?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Oh, what was it? No, Newcastle are going to keep the ball. 1-1.
I'm going 0-0 for that. Scoreless draw. Wolves will be fine with a point because it's away from home and they've just played in Europe. Yeah. Newcastle are playing a dangerous team and they won't be too pushed about getting a win.
Now, there are two games that I do want to talk about. I want to talk about Liverpool playing Spurs, but I also really want to talk about Norwich and United. Right. We'll start with Norwich and United. Norwich have been pretty decent at home this year.
Yeah.
United have been pretty woeful on the road this year.
Yeah.
United looked a little bit better against Liverpool last week, although they played 5 at the back.
Yeah, well that was why they looked a bit better, wasn't it?
Are they going to go to Norwich and play 5 at the back?
No.
Play 5-3-2?
Well, actually, do you know what? Sometimes when a manager gets a result...
Or a 5-2-3 false 9, whatever
it was.
They played with no striker.
Two wide strikers. It's funny that we're talking about Manchester United getting a 1-1 draw against Liverpool as getting a result.
In Old Trafford.
In Old Trafford. That's insane.
Playing without a recognised number 9.
And that's no disrespect to Liverpool whatsoever, but that's insane that Manchester United are considering that.
I remember Rafa Benitez came out after a Merseyside derby years and years and years ago that Everton blatantly went for a 0-0 draw. He absolutely hammered them. He said there was only one team trying to play for a win today. This is disgraceful. They were just too scared of losing against us today. They don't want the points. The points don't mean anything to them. They're not going to finish anywhere in the table. Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
Is that point going to be important to Manchester United?
No.
Is that going to alter their season in any way?
No.
Well, was it a result?
Yes, because they didn't lose. Because they didn't lose to Liverpool, it's a result.
I mean, we were talking about them getting hammered last week.
I thought that they would if they either only sat back. Yeah, if they only sat back, I thought they would get hammered. Solskjaer actually pulled off some decent tactics for once, and he continuously hit Liverpool on the counter attack, and Liverpool were very cautious and they were very unlike themselves, and that allowed Manchester United's tactics.
They've been falling that way a little bit recently. We'll talk about Liverpool in a sec. Do you see United scoring on the road? They do have Anthony Martial back in the attack.
Norwich are not a great defensive side.
Do you see Norwich scoring against United?
Do you know what? I think United will win.
Do you?
Yeah. I think they'll win. Maybe 2. Yeah, I'll go 2-1. They're not great at scoring goals, but I think that they'll...
2-1 to United?
Yeah.
I'm also going to say 2-1.
To United?
No. To Norwich.
I hope you're right.
So do I, man. So do I. Liverpool play Spurs.
Yeah.
In Anfield.
That's the game of the weekend, isn't it?
That is absolutely the game of the weekend.
Yeah, I only see a Liverpool win.
Yeah. When Liverpool take on Spurs in Anfield for the last few years, there's only really been one outcome, and it tends to be a large home win, normally with a clean sheet to go with it.
Yeah.
I know Spurs got a big win in Europe this week against Red Star Belgrade at home. It doesn't mean a whole lot.
No, it doesn't.
Liverpool will have a lot more of the ball in that game. I would be really surprised to see Klopp start with the same midfield three that he started with last week, and also Salah will be back in the team. I think that if Liverpool can get a couple of early goals, or first half goals, or even go a couple of goals up at any stage, that Spurs will absolutely fall apart. I mean, let's not forget this is a team that conceded 8 against Bayern Munich, or 6 was it?
7.
7.
Yeah.
7 goals. This is a team that conceded 7 against Bayern Munich.
Well, they conceded 10 in the week, didn't they? Because they lost 3-0 at Brighton as well. I agree with you that I think it'll be a comfortable win for Liverpool. I'd say 3-0, maybe 3-1, something like that.
Where does that leave Pochettino?
I think he has time. I don't think they'll be in a rush to get rid of him.
Going into this weekend.
Yeah. They're 7th or 8th in the table, if I'm not mistaken. after the draw at home to Watford.
Okay, so league table. Spurs are 7th going into the weekend. Now, theoretically, Burnley could win, Sheffield United could win, Bournemouth could win, West Ham could win. Spurs have how many points? 12. So, 9. They could theoretically find themselves 15th, 16th in the table if they lose. I saw that smile.
It's like United potentially falling into the relegation zone had they lost to Liverpool. They didn't.
United can go back into the relegation zone this week if they lose.
Yeah.
10 points. Newcastle are on 18. Or on 8, sorry.
Yeah. No,
Norwich are on 7 as well. Norwich can help them. Norwich are 19th and they can go above United in the table with a win this week.
let's just think about who Spurs are up against and where it's being held. I don't think that it's a game that the hierarchy will be expecting them to go and win.
Liverpool are unbeaten in Anfield for 2.5 years.
Yeah. It's a point for Spurs will be a huge achievement.
It'd be monumental.
Yeah.
Scoring a goal, I think it'd be well celebrated.
I think it'll be a 3-0 win.
Yeah, I was cagey last week and I said it'd be a low scoring draw. What are you saying, 3-0?
Yeah.
I'll say 4-0, man.
We're not giving Spurs a chance, are we?
You know, I'm going to say 4-1. 4-1. Yeah, so that's all of the reviews. Was there anything else you want to talk about?
I think that was pretty much it. We covered a lot today.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, sweet.
Well done, man. Appreciate you coming out.
No, always a pleasure.
Before we finish the video,
Yeah.
please, I'm not going to point at you guys anymore. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, do. Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you get notifications when the videos come out. And yeah, we'll be doing a lot more podcast every week, coming out every Friday, and then a video each every week. And if occasionally we have time to do another one with the two of us in between, we'll do it.
Yeah. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Spotify. Check us out. We'll see you again. Thank you. Goodbye.